When the whole family comes together to watch the game, nobody wants to miss a second of the action to run to the grocery store. With Instacart, you can get all your weekly groceries in as fast as an hour. Less time shopping means more game time. Let's go. Visit instacart.com to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. $10 minimum per order. Additional terms apply.
I'm Glennon Doyle, author of Untamed and host of the podcast We Can Do Hard Things. On We Can Do Hard Things, my wife Abby, my sister Amanda, and I talk honestly about the hard parts of life. Join us and guests like Michelle Obama, Tracy Ellis Ross, and Brene Brown as we have refreshingly honest conversations. New episodes are out every Tuesday and Thursday, so listen to and follow We Can Do Hard Things, an Odyssey podcast, available now for free on the Odyssey app and everywhere you get your podcasts.
What time is it, kids?
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
This is how dementia. So I don't want to talk too much about it because I may give more hints than I want to that I'm starting to slip. You haven't noticed that, have you?
Not at all. No.
No, really?
No.
Jeff Lutz.
I understand who we're talking about.
And Jason Duda. For today, anyway.
Oh, gasp. I'm so excited.
Philadelphia.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Your visit is always discreet.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is a Thursday edition, the Bob and Jeff Show on KFH Radio. Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz, joined today by Mr. Exciting, Jason Duda, the three-man booth on a Thursday. He's got my puppy dog sitting in his lap, so... there's something that Misty has always liked about Duda, and I'm not sure what it is. Jeff, your thought?
The chair, I would think.
No, she's sitting on his lap.
Dogs are very smart animals. They know good people. That's all it is.
She's very relaxed. No indication that she wants to move.
Nope.
Come here, miss.
No, she's not about to come there. No, quit enticing her to leave Jason Duda's lap.
She's not
We'll
gonna.
see what happens.
She's not gonna. She's quite content.
Here she goes.
There we go.
Got to get in her bed. So Jeff comes in yesterday, guns a-blazing, talking about your discussion on Tuesday's show about your personality and why it is that you're not emotional about things. So I thought I'd weigh in. Why is it? Why do you lack the certain amount of emotion when it comes to fandom, cheering,
Sports?
What is that?
Probably because I played. So you can't be up and down. You got to stay level. Got to stay even keel. Things are going good. You want to keep it there.
Well,
Things are going bad. You got to keep it. You got to keep it even keel. You can't roller coaster.
You know what I think part of it is? That you didn't go to an American college. You don't have your college team to root for. Because usually when I run into professional athletes, not that I know a bunch, they're rooting for a college football team.
Who's the last professional athlete you ran into?
Well, I run into professional athletes all the time. It's
give me an example.
Percy Hawkins down at the Dillons.
No, give me an example of somebody you've run into, because
okay,
I'm
I
not just
covered
gonna let you get away with
baseball.
that.
I covered Major League Baseball. I've talked to golfers. I've talked to basketball players. What do you want from me?
It's an abundance of people, is what he's saying.
It's more than one.
Well, I don't.
But
Listen,
they're into college sports more than anything, and I think that might be part of why Jason hasn't chosen a team, isn't emotional about outcomes.
Well, when we do a daily radio show, or even in Duda's case, he's on, frequently. You kind of build an identity, kind of an image. Duda's image is he's not going to get worked up about things. He's not going to lose any sleep. If you had to,
nope.
I've gotten him worked up a few times.
My image is kind of curmudgeonly, but really, if you get beneath the surface, a sweet, wonderful guy. And your image is just a malcontent, a naysayer, and
intelligent, brings the show together,
and a guy that just doesn't
the glue
doesn't want to conform to much of anything. Am I right?
I'd
well,
say
never
an intelligent mess.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
He
I'll
knows some
take
stuff,
that.
but he's a mess.
But didn't I describe him pretty well? A malcontent, a
Am I
I don't know what
malcontent?
that means.
nonconformer.
I don't know what that means. So
Content means you're
kept it
content.
Simple.
Mal means bad or not.
Mal means bad or not.
Usually bad.
A malcontent, a nonconformer, somebody who is a fly in the ointment. That
one I
kind
can
of
get. That one I
kind of
can-
guy.
That one
Hey,
I can get
that's a-
behind.
That's a wonderful compliment you just paid me. I appreciate
Well,
that.
that's
Not
too
bad.
bad that you look at it like that.
Why wouldn't I? Why would I want to conform? That's ridiculous.
Conform?
I mean, I have a job. I go to my job every day. I mean, I conform in plenty
if
of
your
ways.
boss called you in and said, you know what, you're not conforming, and we're thinking about, it'd be, please, sir, please.
Well, I
please."
had to do a little bit of that yesterday, but
Did
we
you
don't
really?
we don't need to get into it.
Well, let's get into it.
I don't know that I
What'd you
should.
mess up?
I didn't mess up anything. There was this story. Man, I don't know. I'm probably gonna get fired.
Nah,
for this.
don't. Well, I don't want you to do
I'll
that.
tell you off the air.
Yeah, we don't need to. We don't need to go there. You need to take care of your business
I did.
where you're employed at KWCH. That's first and foremost. Much like Duda takes care of his business, and I certainly take care of mine.
100%. As did I eventually. I mean, you know, you can have your opinion, but when it's overruled by the man in charge, you got to go with the man in charge.
That's exactly right.
That's how
and
it
the
works.
and who's the man in charge here?
Doesn't really.
I don't know if there is one. I wouldn't say
Really?
there is one that's totally in charge.
Oh, really? Well, that's interesting.
Well, I wouldn't say that anybody here is totally in charge.
Well, I'll have
Would
to.
you?
Well, I when I look at the marquee, it has one name in front of the rest. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that means that person is in charge. The Bob and Jeff Show
Oh, I know where you're
with
going.
Jason Duda.
I know where you're going.
I suppose if Tony
What'd he say?
Dusing's listening to this, our program director, he would maybe think, you know what? Yeah,
Well, there are.
I kind of got this. Tony, I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
I'm kind
about.
of the guy in charge.
There are
Yeah.
certain metrics one could use maybe to determine, let's say, the value of both of us on this show.
What
And you
about
can-
him?
This is gonna no.
I know.
I'm the relief pitcher, so I'm
Nah,
the judge.
Duda's made enough of a mark that he's in.
But I'm talking about the value. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what I'm saying.
Okay, so what is it? What is the metric?
The value.
What's the value?
Let's just say that more value comes to my way every other Friday than yours. If you want to put it like that.
Oh, because you prop up
FanDuel.
betting? Congratulations.
FanDuel is the official sports betting
just think
partner
if I would have said to Tony,
of KFA.
you know, I'll go ahead and take that, even though it wouldn't have been something I would have done being in charge of a nonprofit youth organization. But imagine if I had said that.
Said what?
Yeah, I'll take that on. I'll be the spokesperson.
No, it would have been both of us.
Do you agree with that?
There's no
I don't
agree.
know.
It was
I don't know the inside information on that. There's only one person that we could ask that would probably know the answer. That would be Mr. Tony Deuce.
And I've talked to Mr. Tony Dusing about that several times.
If I went to Mr. Tony Dusing right now and I said to him, Tony, I want that bet income or I'm out.
Give it a shot.
Oh, my God. He'd be shuffling his feet so quickly to make that happen.
Man, I need to find a replacement for you now.
Man.
It's going to be tough.
You
I'll
really
figure it
think
out.
that?
Well, of course.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not going to tell you that they actually wanted me first, and I said no because it's your guys' show.
It's probably good you don't tell us that since it would be a blatant lie.
What? What are you talking about? I kept the email. I actually got it framed in my house.
There is an aroma in my basement. I've noticed it for a while now. It seems to be stronger today. It's kind of like a perfume. Do you smell it?
No, but this has got to have a
you don't
great
smell
story behind it.
No, I don't know. I don't know what the story is.
We're dying. It's
I don't
a
know where it's
poisonous
coming
gas.
from. I don't think poisonous gas smells like something you'd wear out on
Well,
a
then how
date.
did it get in the house?
I don't know what, and it's only in this. It's only in this room. I don't know what's going on.
Are you entertaining visitors?
That's kind of where I was going.
No, not at all. I don't know. I don't
Are
know
they entertaining you?
I don't know what it is, but today it's pretty noticeable. There's days where you hardly smell it at all.
Do you have some kind of Glade plug-in around the house
You
somewhere?
smell it? I don't smell it.
I smelled it when it came in, but I guess I'm used to it now.
I don't.
But I still smelled a tiny bit.
I don't know. I mean, if there's one thing about me that people will tell you, I've always smelled good.
It didn't smell like something that was necessarily safe to be around.
Yeah,
but,
it smells like a perfume.
No, it smelled like a chemical.
A fragrance. What's a fragrance that's used?
No idea. Don't dabble into that.
Chanel No. 8 or whatever. That's kind of what it smells like.
I don't know.
I remember the days when I went out, I used to have cologne, several bottles, and I would pick from them which
Why?
one. Well, because that's what guys did.
I've never worn cologne.
Well, that's what in my era. That's what guys did. Did you ever wear cologne?
No.
No. You're going to want to impress the young lady.
If you have to use something that makes you smell good to impress her, you're not going to keep her for very long.
Well, I already smell good.
Well, then what do you need
This is an
cologne
enhancement.
for?
It's
Okay.
an enhancement.
Anyways, please continue.
No, I'm telling you that's what I did. I had a few bottles of cologne. It seemed natural.
A few bottles?
You did aftershave, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you ever do aftershave?
Never once in my life.
Well,
no.
it shows.
You like the mustache coming back in a little
the
bit here?
mustache doesn't look good, and the rash
What are you talking about?
could have been addressed with some aftershave.
What rash? Tell the listeners.
Look at the rash. Do you see it, or am I seeing things?
I don't see a rash.
You don't see a little rash up by the cheeks?
This red part of my cheek, that's just how my cheek is, man.
Well, I mean, aftershave would have probably resolved that.
You think
Of course, yes. Aftershave fixes all.
Well,
If you have a blemish, use aftershave.
What was the purpose of aftershave?
I don't know. What is the purpose of it? I just
think
used
it's
it.
to soothe the skin, right? Your skin takes a beating when you shave.
True.
Now you don't realize that, but
No, I realize it. I get razor burn sometimes.
But then you
Only in this area.
You soften things up with some nice aftershave.
Here's why I get it in this area, because this area is supposed to go in reverse, right? You're supposed to go up with the razor right here, but I go down and it goes against the grain.
Well, you never learned how to shave.
Oh yeah, I never learned how to shave. What in
No,
the world?
Well, did you not teach him?
I mean,
We had a time hop that popped up on Dia's phone the other day with my dad and Jackson, and he was teaching him how to shave a few years ago.
I believe my dad, if I'm remembering correctly, I sort of remember the first time I shaved. Of course, I was 8.
Jeez.
I saw you in those high school pictures. You had nothing going on facially.
Wow.
Nothing.
What high school pictures did you see?
I've seen your
me
high
in?
school pictures and yearbook stuff. I've
I
seen it
got
all.
held out of my senior yearbook
I know.
because of my long sideburns.
As you should.
So they wouldn't allow you in the
That is
yearbook?
aged-
Oh, isn't that
has aged
something?
well.
I wish I'd have seen those bad boys.
Isn't that something?
I'd love to seen them chop.
How many others did that circumstance?
One other that I know of, and that's it. And Orrin Eisen, our principal, I remember him sitting at his desk. Well, Bob, we're not going to play.
Bob at
We're not
age
gonna
14?
play-
Good
No,
grief.
this is senior year, you idiot.
What's the difference?
You know,
Let me go by Bob.
I think this whatever we're smelling is affecting your
Was
brain.
Harold in the picture as well? Good grief.
Dude, would you like to weigh in?
No, that was funny.
Harold?
I don't know why. but
Bob's just such an old name for a
I found that
teenager.
funny. Bob.
There were many Bobs at my level.
Well, you and Orville aren't going to be in the yearbook this year, Sonny.
Orville Redenbacher.
You're an
thoughts?
absolute moron, Jeff.
You're right. Can we
No,
get a?
seriously, you got a name Jeff.
Yeah, that's a.
I mean, how
That's not a
how
contemporary.
antiquated is that?
My name is specific to my generation. There are no older Jeffs.
So is mine.
There
So
are
is
no.
mine.
No, there are still Jasons, and there are still Roberts. There are no Jeffs anymore.
I don't have one Robert in League 42.
Really?
No, I don't have one Jeff. I'm not sure I got many Jasons. You want me? I'm just going to grab a stack of registration forms, and I'm going to read the first 10. Okay?
Okay.
Of no particular, they're in alphabetical order, but not first name. Okay? Number 1 is Levi. Malik.
It's a good name. I love Malik.
Najee. Jorge. Santiago. Feliciano. Christian. Yasayan.
See, now we have to add the caveat
Amarion.
that these are mostly children of color.
Campbell. Chance. Angelo. Connor. I mean,
Connor.
there's no Jason in there.
No, it's too old.
Thought you had a
Cool.
Jason in League 42 at one point.
We may have, but
When he first started it, and then Jason was 17, so it was like he was like 35.
The last Jason.
Yeah.
if I had a kid today, what would I name him or her?
I don't know.
What would you name them?
That's a great question.
Bronson?
No, I don't
Arroyo?
like that name.
I like the name Bronson.
I'd have to certainly ask my wife, but for a girl, Angela comes to mind. I like that name, and that's a name that's been around for a while.
It's a good name.
I don't know how many Angelas there are now.
I don't know
When's
that.
the last? I don't know the last time I've ever run into an Angela. That
Look up
wasn't
the most popular.
that wasn't a little older.
Look up the most popular names.
Well, they're going to be more traditional at the top.
You know, back in my day,
Olivia for a girl, it looks like Noah maybe for a boy.
both fine. Back in my day, there was a lot of people naming their daughters Heather, Tiffany,
Yeah.
those kinds of names.
Samantha.
Yeah, and you wondered, what's a 70-year-old Tiffany gonna be? And now we got 70-year-old Tiffany.
You do. And we got 70-year-old Bobs.
We're looking at one essentially.
Well, we've had Roberts. Roberts, one of the great names of all time.
Maybe almost the greatest.
Well, I mean, come on, Robert.
I said
I
it's
don't
almost
care
the
for
greatest.
Bob, but that's what it got. That's what it got shortened to. I would have preferred Rob.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a Rob.
You're really not.
Should change the name of the show, The Rob and Jeff Show.
I like it.
The Robbie and Jeff.
The Rob and Jeff Show.
How about Robbie?
Robbie and Jeffy.
Robbie and Jeffrey.
We could have gone many different ways with my name. My middle name was Douglas, as is yours. Could have gone just with Doug.
Why did you use
Anything
the
but
same
Bob.
middle name for me? Because your dad wasn't a Douglas. So why didn't you let me have something different?
Well, I didn't want to.
All right.
How's that for an answer?
See, now I feel like if and when I have a son, I will
You're
have
not
to
at,
go
what are you, 60? Give
Douglas.
me a break.
I want to be an old dad, man.
I don't know. I'm going to be an ancient grandfather if you do that. And I'm just going to be PO'd because I could have had some good years as a grandfather.
You did.
And instead, yes, to Aaron, and I understand that. But you know what I'm saying. What I'm saying, your kid, biologically, I could have had some good years. Now I'll be in a home slurping Jell-O.
That's all
On
right.
the first visit that they're aware of.
That'd be awesome. I want to be there for that.
Well, you might be right in the next bed.
Well, there's
the way
a good,
you're going.
There's a good chance.
You're-
And that'd be okay. I'd be all right with that.
Your cognitive decline is noticeable. I'll just
Do you
leave
have
it
a
at that.
television update? Because I have a bit of a podcast update.
No, I do want to talk to you about the show. We'll get into all that after we talk to Berry Tramel, who will join us in the next segment. Barry, longtime columnist. I can't hear you. Longtime
Talk to
columnist.
Ray.
Let's
Bobby's
get to
been
Ray
holding.
first. Barry Tramel will join us at the start of the next segment, and then we'll make picks in hour number 2. Hey, Ray, how are you?
I am fine, Bob. How are you?
I'm well.
I just got to say, when you were talking about colognes as a youth, my brother was obsessed with the Avon collection of colognes.
Well, there you go. I think
the Avon collection, was that part of your repertoire? You had a lot of bottles.
I think I can relate to your brother. We're cologne people. I certainly enjoyed my variety of colognes, especially the spray-ons. I thought that was big.
You betcha it was. And also, I want to remind you, we had a good interaction on the Eagle chat many years ago.
Oh, nice.
I do remember that, Ray. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being an Eagles fan.
No, the Wichita Eagle.
No, I think he's talking about the Eagles, the band.
No, he's not.
Right, Ray?
Well, I like the Eagles, you betcha.
There you go. You talk.
He was talking about your Eagle live
my chat.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that as well. Thank you, Ray. All right. Well, wherever we chatted, I'm sure it was great.
Oh, it had to be something.
Well, I'm sure Ray enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm sure he did. I'm sure it was fantastic.
Sometimes the show just goes south, and I don't know. It's hard.
Well, we're talking about
to pull the nose up.
We're
sometimes.
talking about these guys when they first started wearing cologne, which was in the late '60s.
I guess.
And this is where that's how it got started.
I hear you. I mean, it is what it is.
Late '60s cologne.
You just relax
Welcome
over
to the
there,
drive.
Duda.
Welcome to the drive.
You just be happy you're here.
Oh,
we'll be back in a minute.
See ya.
We'll talk to Berry Tramel next.
Okay, what's the number one reason you should try Instacart? Shopping over 1.5 million unique products from over 1,000 retailers and get everything delivered right to your door in as fast as 1 hour, all in one app. So you can spend more time with the ones who matter most. Visit instacart.com to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. $10 minimum per order. Additional terms apply.
Tecovas is a terrific boot brand, and they're bringing a fresh perspective to heritage boot making. So they've carried forward all the time-honored traditions and quality you find in a great pair of cowboy boots, but they've innovated on comfort, style, and service. As someone who tries to pursue a minimalist lifestyle, I highly value quality over quantity, and I'm telling you, you can't find a higher quality boot than Tecovas. Their Western boots for men and women are handmade from the most premium leathers with over 200 time-honored individual steps. Also, did I mention that they are Austin-designed, Texas-tested, and handmade down in the boot-making capital of the world, Leon, Mexico? And also, if you've ever wondered if you can pull off cowboy boots, which is something that I was thinking, you should pull on a pair of Tecovas and you'll see. Just do a quick search for Tecovas on social media and you'll see how adorably styled these boots can be. Visit tecovas.com, that's TECOVAS.com, and point your toes west.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Berry Tramel with .com. You can read his work, most of it about, of course, the University of Oklahoma and Oklahoma sports. Barry, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. How's Wichita today?
Oh, we're about probably the same as Norman and Oklahoma City. We kind of have that in common, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty chilly here today.
Yeah. Well, let's start with the Thunder. Because if they weren't being taken seriously before Tuesday night with the Boston Celtics coming to town, they certainly are now, because that game had the feel of better times and bigger things to come.
Yeah, it was a special night in the building. Harking back to the old days of Kevin Durant and Westbrook when the Thunder had one of the best NBA teams, and the Thunder certainly answered the bell. They really should have had everyone's attention before that. The Nuggets have lost 3 times at home this season. 2 of those losses have been to the Thunder. So, the last 2 or 3 weeks, the Thunder has been announcing its presence and on the national stage, and it certainly did so again Tuesday night. Great game. And, things are just looking so great for Oklahoma City. We thought they would be a playoff team. Well, they're more than a playoff team. They're making noise like they are a contender, one of the NBA's best teams.
I'm interested in that phrase, the national stage, because while Denver won the NBA championship last year, they're not necessarily a media darling. The Nuggets, Minnesota is up there. I think still the top seed in the West. They're not media darlings. Oklahoma City is not that yet. They perhaps were when Durant and Westbrook were there. So do you think that grouping has really caught on and nationally and Oklahoma City in particular?
Yeah, no, it's possible the Thunder's just the latest hot thing. 3-game losing streak would end that. But, my inbox been filled with national stuff on the Thunder in the last 2 days. The Athletic is just going on and on and on about the Thunder. Bill Simmons of the Ringer ranked the Thunder number 1 in his team rankings this week. So people are jumping on the board quick, and they're an easy team to cheer for. I mean, young. So far, they haven't developed an attitude. Really good storylines when you look at the ascension of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the incredible rookie year of Chet Holmgren, who appears to be at least in the lead for Rookie of the Year when Victor Wembanyama is making his debut. So lots to like about this Thunder team. Playing great defense, playing great offense. They look like they're in it for the long haul.
Just curious, you were talking about Westbrook and Durant, and obviously Harden was there, and when they were very good, those guys were young and then had a little bit of a lull there. Was there any sense of panic from the organization? Did they know they just had to wait, rebuild a little bit, make some time? And then how were the fans and the supporters around Oklahoma City during that period? And then all of a sudden, this year, Oklahoma City's is looking fantastic.
Well, I mean, people in Oklahoma got tired of the losing quickly. They were ready to go all in on whatever all in means. But the truth of the matter is, Oklahoma City played 1.5 seasons of bad basketball. They traded away when they traded away Westbrook. A few days after they traded Paul George in the summer of 19, they traded Jeremy Grant to Denver. You thought the tanking had begun, but what we didn't know was that Chris Paul still had a lot left in his tank, and Dennis Schroeder and SGA and that crew put together a really good 2020 team. That was the year COVID hit. They still made the playoffs down in the NBA bubble, went to Game 7 with the Rockets, and then it looked like they were starting to tank. They traded Chris Paul for not a whole lot. They traded Dennis Schroeder. They really tore the team down. And yet they were still pretty good. They were 19-24. They were at least competitive when they shut down SGA. He was hurt. They shut him down. They shut down Al Horford, and they went all in on tanking. And for the next year and a half, lots of losing. The arena became sort of a dreary place because nobody wants to see browbeating losses. But the truth is, 1.5 seasons of rebuilding is not much in the NBA. We could go out to Charlotte. We could go to Minnesota. We could go to Sacramento. We could go to Salt Lake. Go to all those places and say, hey, what's a long stretch of losing look like? And it's a lot more than a year and a half. So last year, fun, competitive team again, make the play-in tournament. This year, of course, contending for the number 1 seed. So Oklahoma City fans are spoiled. No doubt about it. We really don't know what sustained losing looks like.
Berry Tramel, our guest, his work available to you, selloutcrowd.com. So talk to us a little bit about the Oklahoma City Thunder coach, Mark Daigneault. He's been there a little bit, but certainly not the name that rolls off the tongue or that every NBA fan knows about, I would guess. What's made him successful?
Well, He's incredibly smart. His strategic acumen is fabulous. I don't know if anybody watched the game last night. You know, they got beat all night long, should have lost by 15 or 20. Somehow climbed back in it, down 13 with 3 minutes left, I think it was, and somehow got the ball with 2.8 seconds or 2.6, whatever it was, down 3, and he's able to draw up a great play. You know, Atlanta doesn't have to guard anything except the three-point line, and he still gets Isaiah Joe, who's a great three-point shooter, gets him an open shot before the buzzer. It hit the rim. They don't all go in, but it was remarkable. His plays out of timeouts are just phenomenal. He's a good communicator. He's not doesn't have a big ego. He gets along with the players. So he's so anonymous. Nobody in Oklahoma City even knew who he was when he got the head coaching job. People nationally didn't know who he was. He played basketball. He was on the basketball team at Connecticut as a student, as a manager. Then he goes to Florida and spends a lot of time on Billy Donovan's staff, not as a head coach. I mean, as an assistant coach, but as one of those analysts or managers or just one of those guys hanging around. Sam Presti just sort of discovers him while he's scouting. They develop a relationship. He brings Daignault to town to coach the G League team. And Daignault has said, you know what, I wasn't qualified for that. I didn't have any business doing it. Coaches the G League team for 3 or 4 years, gets a job on Billy Donovan's staff. Billy takes off for Chicago, and the Thunder hires Mark Daignault. Nobody even knew what he looked like or how to spell his name. And he's just been a home run hire. So credit Sam Presti for having the foresight to recognize a quality coach in the making.
So I'm curious, Barry, about Oklahoma City has a superstar in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Chet Holmgren might become that, but focusing on SGA for a second, what does he think of Oklahoma City? You know, you see so many star-level and superstar-level players who ultimately want to get to L.A. or Miami or New York or playing in Brooklyn. I guess that's New York too. But does he like Oklahoma City? Does he see that as a long-term play for him?
Well, I'm skeptical of any of that. So I never answer. I don't know what's inside anybody's head.
Yeah.
And my fallback position is all these guys would probably rather play somewhere else. Not anywhere else, but somewhere else. However, it's a great situation in Oklahoma City. He's getting the max. He's sort of like Westbrook. He's becoming an international fashion maven, even though he's in Oklahoma City. He's got a great roster around him that's going to get better and better and better. So for now, I think it's a perfect spot for SGA. 3 years from now, 4 years from now, who knows? I thought Kevin Durant was an Oklahoma City lifer, and I learned my lesson, so I won't fall in that trap anymore. I think the day will come when SGA is playing elsewhere. But for now, this is the perfect spot for him.
Final moments here with the Berry Tramel, selloutcrowd.com, longtime sports columnist in the state of Oklahoma. So I want to ask you about OU football and then basketball. Has Brent Venables kind of calmed the waters as they head to the SEC? Are people feeling like Oklahoma's going to be just fine and become a contender in that conference and be in the discussion for the playoffs most years? Do people feel that way around OU? And then is Porter Moser and this basketball team, which has lost only once, ranked 11th in the country, they go into Big 12 conference play this weekend against Iowa State. How real is that? There's a couple questions for you to gnaw on, Barry.
Okay, Brent Venables. I think he has settled the waters. I think people are more optimistic than perhaps they were a year ago for two reasons. They had a much better team. Now they had a very easy schedule, but they go 10-2 in the regular season, lost a couple of games right at the wire. The road games against Kansas and Oklahoma State, two pretty good teams. Beat Texas That's always a good way to endear yourself to Oklahomans. So had a good year, and since then the portal losses, particularly on defense, have been virtually zilch. So he's bringing back a bunch of good, not just the portal, but the NFL draft early entries. He's bringing back virtually every defender that he could. So lots of optimism about the OU defense. The OU offense probably going to be a struggle for a while. New quarterback Jackson Arnold's got a great prospect, but the offensive line's having to be rebuilt. So I think the optimism is back in fairly high regard for Brent Venables. The SEC is not the saber-tooth conference it was a couple of years ago. We saw in September, hey, the SEC is a little struggling. We see in the postseason, SEC did not dominate. So I'm not sure if OU can make the SEC championship game next season, but I do think they'll have a good team and have a chance to compete to finish in the top two. So I think the optimism's pretty high. When you look at basketball, this team came out of nowhere, a bunch of new guys, a couple of holdovers from the mediocre team of last season. But Porter Moser's done a very good job. They've had a lot of good wins. They beat USC, they beat Iowa, they beat Providence. They went to North Carolina and lost to the Tar Heels, but that's forgivable. So I don't think they're a Big 12 title contender, but I do think they're going to make the NCAA tournament, and that's a big step for Porter. So I like this team pretty good. It's going to get beat up inside quite a bit, but if you can't do that, you'll have trouble beating the Sooners.
Well, we always appreciate it. We like to get that Oklahoma perspective. Of course, we have a lot of OU fans and Thunder fans here in Wichita. Barry Tramel has been with us. Barry, thank you.
Good to talk to you, Bob. See you guys later.
Take care.
Later.
All right, good stuff. I enjoy Barry.
Good guy.
He's good on radio, isn't he?
Yeah, good writer, good everything.
What do you think, dudes?
He knows his stuff.
There you go. All right, it's the three-man booth. Yours truly, Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz, Jason Duda. Shockers tonight at home against North Texas. We're going to make that pick.
You set the, no, you couldn't have because the game's today.
What's that?
I was asking if you set the line, but since
I would have set it higher.
The game's today.
I was surprised when I checked this out and saw that the Shockers are a 1.5 favorite. I would have made it 3.5 to 4 points. So you would think that I would immediately get somewhere and make a little wager on that game, but I'm not.
Essentially a pick 'em. I mean, I guess Wichita State could win by one.
Why is that?
Because nobody's believing in Wichita State, and for good reason. They've given.
Well, I don't know that I believe in them, but I certainly don't believe in the mean green of North Texas.
Are they not good this year?
They're 6-7, or 7-6, or something. I don't know. They got a guy that can score. They got a guy that can rebound. We'll see. I don't know. If Wichita State were not to lose this game at home to North Texas, I think there'd be a little bit of a panic.
Well, there's a little bit of a panic right now. There might be full-on panic.
I don't think there's a little bit of a panic.
Yeah, there is. That 5-game stretch, they didn't really show much.
What did I say before that 5-game stretch?
That it would tell us a lot, and you said it did. So what did it tell us?
It told us that the Shockers aren't ready for prime time.
I knew you were going to say that. Those were the exact words that went through my head.
But the Shockers get a prime time opportunity tonight. And listen, they could still roll off a decent record in the American.
Of course. But
they've got to win this game.
Says a lot about the American.
Well, the American hasn't shown us much.
That's what
I watched
I'm saying.
a little bit of Tulane and Rice and had to wash my eyes out after
I
watching
can't believe
Rice.
you do that.
Well, listen, I like to know a little bit. I'm not like you.
In what way?
Who's comfortable in my ignorance. I like to know things.
I know stuff. Just don't know how good
Rice is. What are you pondering over there, Duda?
Your comment, but now I forgot what it was.
Comfortable in his
Not ready for prime time, but get a prime time opportunity.
Not ready for prime time. Well, what did everybody think they were going to go out and win the league? Like,
no, I thought they would win a game or two more in this recent 5-game stretch. I didn't think they'd go 1-4 and really need a last-second block to do that against Southern Illinois. I thought 3-2 was going to be how they came out of it, and I thought there was a time when we on this show talked about, well, I think they can compete with Kansas. They didn't compete with Kansas very well.
So you thought they'd beat either Kansas State or Missouri in that stretch?
Correct. Or South Dakota State.
Well, yeah, but you said 3 wins, so it would have to be South Dakota State, Southern Illinois, and then somebody else.
Yeah, one of those, Missouri or K-State.
Okay.
No reason not to beat Missouri. They're not very good.
They could have and should have probably beat Missouri. I agree.
And there's no reason not to beat K-State.
Kansas State struggling with Chicago State. Man, honeymoon over.
Well, not necessarily. You got to see what these teams now do in conference. You basically you throw everything out now, and you're starting over.
Did you know that was?
And I say that for every team.
I get it on some level, but it sucks. Kansas State looked really good coming into the season. Now they've lost Quez Glover and Naquan Tomlin, and I think Kaluma. Has he been out?
He got injured, but I think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be out for long. But
those three guys.
Don't give up on Jerome Tang.
I'm not giving up on Jerome
and don't
Tang.
Say honeymoon over.
I'm giving up on this roster a little bit.
Did he not say honeymoon over?
Well, he did say that.
And it is.
Who's the honeymoon for?
I don't know.
Jerome Tang.
I didn't know there was a honeymoon.
Jerome Tang.
I don't think fans really put it on him. But in a way, honeymoon with Jerome Tang over because of what went on with Naquan Tomlin and the president.
Not his deal. There's no honeymoon over with Jerome Tang. They love Jerome Tang.
I get that. I don't mean it like they're coming off him. I'm just saying the good feelings around that program have subsided a little.
It's pretty quick for them all to subside.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
A lot bad has happened. They beat Chicago State by 8.
I don't agree with that.
Well, okay, you don't have
to.
You
need to work harder on your opinions. I don't know that we've just thrown up our hands about K-State.
We're not throwing up our hands, but this is a team that was a shot away from being in the Final Four last year, and now they're struggling with Chicago State.
And lost the 3 best players from that team.
Right, so those were the good feelings, right? Now they don't have those guys, and they've lost a couple others to injury, or for at least a time.
Well, yeah, but that's the whole that's college basketball. You're going to have good players that end up seniors. You have good teams, and then maybe not quite as good the next year. But you don't just quit on everybody.
Not quitting on anybody.
Heavens no. They've got UCF at home to start the conference season Saturday. Then they go to West Virginia. Watch out for West Virginia. I know you're thinking, oh, they're terrible.
They're not that good.
They got 3 guys coming that are now eligible that are all really good players, and they're going to be a factor. They're going to be a much bigger factor than you think they're going to be.
Those guys already were eligible.
No, they're not. So they've got UCF, West Virginia, Texas Tech. You got to go 2-1 there, right? Minimum.
Well, you would hope, but yeah, I mean,
Texas Tech.
You want to be taken serious.
Texas Tech's not bad.
They're not bad.
Then you got Baylor, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Houston, Oklahoma. It's a juggernaut. The Big 12's another. It's going to be a juggernaut again.
Yeah, when it comes to basketball, it usually is every year. There's good teams in the Big 12.
And you've added.
That's why it's getting harder to judge these teams, right? Like we were talking about it, Jason and I, trying to build a 12-team playoff in college football. But you look at a team like Michigan, who you know is going to be really good, but next year they add Oregon, Washington, and USC to their conference schedule and take out like Rutgers and Maryland. And here's KU. I mean, obviously great, but Arizona next year, Houston this year, it's unbelievable how teams they have to go
from
through.
Football to basketball. There.
No, I'm saying like these mega conferences all have great teams, and if you lose 7 or 8 games, you might still be awesome.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I'm looking forward to the conference season in basketball. There's nothing like it. I like the matchups. I like the fact that although I'm still a little lukewarm on the American. I don't think, certainly if this was a trade made in baseball, if you're trading Houston, Cincinnati, and Central Florida to get Charlotte, UAB, Florida Atlantic, UTSA Rice, and North Texas, the Big 12 won that trade.
Yeah, by a lot.
Away. However, Florida Atlantic, you at least got Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, but now Florida Atlantic is in the American, which is a step up. But once they lose their coach, which they will at some point, Dusty May, who knows if that will be.
What's all the negativity today about?
And that's not a negativity. It's reality. Dusty May is not a lifer.
He could have gone anywhere this year.
Well, he will eventually because he got all his guys back. And I would want to take a run with those guys as opposed to going to some weak Power 5 school.
What about Penny? Is he going anywhere?
When Houston loses Kelvin Sampson, they just go right, and they're still in the Big 12. They won't.
Is Penny going anywhere?
No, Penny is Memphis.
Well, I don't understand the
Penny
gloom
is
and doom.
Memphis. And
It's
Memphis,
not doom and gloom, but obviously you're at Florida Atlantic. He's going to get an opportunity to go somewhere else if it continues and has another year like this. I agree with Jeff. He's probably not going to be there.
You just had to throw that in, didn't you?
gone after this year.
That's just reality,
My
Bob.
God.
Come on. You know that as well as anybody else. That's reality. That's what happens.
Well,
He's
that's
going to
a-
go somewhere else. It's just the way it is.
That's
the
a
way
da-
it works.
That's a damn shame.
Well, media did it, and you were involved in it for 42 years, so you were part of the problem, I guess.
I never went anywhere else.
Nope, but you wrote about all these guys.
Offer after offer.
and called for firings. Let them know.
Called for firings, called for guys to move.
I called for
rehirings.
one firing. No, two.
Yeah, both basketball coaches, Scott Thompson and Randy Smithson, right?
Yeah. First column I ever wrote, I didn't really call for Randy Smithson's firing. Yeah, I guess I did.
Can't be doing that.
First column I ever wrote for the Wichita Eagle was about the 96 Olympic gymnastics team.
The most
And they put it on page 1A. What do you mean the most what?
Just an awful, awful column.
Really?
Awful.
Did you read it? Column.
Yeah, I read it. It's extremely sexist.
No, it's not.
What?
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Oh, do I have to read
They
it?
were a bunch of whining people. The second column I wrote on the sports page was to announce that I thought it was time for the Shockers to move on from Scott Thompson, their basketball coach at the time, and a guy I really liked. I enjoyed Scott Thompson, but the needle wasn't moving. You better win if you're coaching at Wichita State.
Well,
you better win.
That's what everybody wants. And
if you don't, you
can't
gotta
happen.
If you don't, you got to move on.
And it happens all the time. That goes right back to what Jeff was saying. You're going
Right.
to lose somebody because they're
Sounds
not
right to
winning.
me.
You're bringing somebody in.
You know what? I'm going to call for the ouster of a coach next week on this show.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
I don't know who it's going to be.
A local coach?
I don't know. Now that sounded heavy-handed, but I'm not
funny.
afraid to say that. Coaches get in this knowing they know what's going on.
Hired to be fired.
They understand the risks.
That's the way it's always been. Comes with the territory.
Any Thunder coaches get fired during your time there?
Oh, God, yeah. We went through 3 in 1 year. I mean, well, yeah.
Did you ever play for Wellesley?
Yeah, for 5 years. He's the guy that brought
Where
me in
is
here.
he now? I'd love to get him on the show.
Last time I heard he was in, I think he was in South Carolina. He shoots me a text every once in a while, and we chat for a couple minutes, just via text here and there. He seemed to be doing good the last time it was probably a couple years ago that I've heard from him.
Is he coaching?
No, I don't think so. No, he's not coaching. He hasn't been coaching for a while. But that's a guy you need to get for 5 questions.
Well, let's get Wellesley.
Hook it up, man.
Yeah, you
Give me
got
his
his
number.
number.
Yeah, I'll give you his number.
Well, why don't you hook it up?
I'm not on Friday.
Oh, boy, what a selfish What a
If we're
selfish
getting
outlook.
Wellesley on, I want to talk to Wellesley.
Well, then if we get him on, you're on that Friday.
Well,
AKA
we'll probably
tomorrow.
figure something out.
Good grief.
Tomorrow?
Maybe.
Oh, I can't do it tomorrow. I got plans.
Well, we'll dig into that later. All right. Are we only done with 1 hour?
Yeah, I know. This is
thought
a
you said it
drag.
flew by.
Dragon
Why is
Thursday.
the show
Tuesday
dragging today?
Tuesday felt like it was like 10 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? So I'm
no,
the
I'm
reason.
just saying. Well, you're supposedly in the captain's seat, and your name's first on the marquee.
He's
so
saying I kept it moving, and you've got it slogging.
Is that anywhere
didn't
close
say
to
that.
what you're saying?
Didn't say that. Didn't say that.
But is
You're
it
listening
close?
to this gentleman here.
Seems to be what you're insinuating.
Not what I'm insinuating.
We will be
whatsoever.
back with the quickest hour number 2 you've ever heard after this.
I'm Glennon Doyle, author of Untamed and host of the podcast We Can Do Hard Things. On We Can Do Hard Things, my wife Abby, my sister Amanda, and I talk honestly about the hard parts of life. Join us and guests like Michelle Obama, Tracy Ellis Ross, and Brene Brown as we have refreshingly honest conversations. New episodes are out every Tuesday and Thursday, so listen to and follow We Can Do Hard Things, an Odyssey podcast, available now for free on the Odyssey app and everywhere you get your podcasts.